Hi, today's Mishna Brura study, Shulchan Aruch Mishna Brura. I'm using a different format. Tell me if it's better or worse, please. So we're in chapter 26, part 1. Im ein lo ela tefillah achat. If he only has ein ela, only, nothing other than. If he only has one tefillah, one of the tefillin, meiniach, he will put on, he will place, otashe yesh lo, the one that he has, umavarech aleha, and say the blessing on it. Shekol achat mitzvah bifnei atzma. For each one is a mitzvah by itself. V'hu hadin, and it's the same. We had that before. It's the same law. Im yesh lo shteihem, if he has both of them. V'yesh lo shum ones, and he has something. Ones literally means forced, but what it really means is beyond your control. He has some factor beyond your control. She'eini yachol laniach ela achat, that you are not able to put on except, again, ein ela, you are only, that you are only able to put on one of them. Meniach otoshiachol, put on the one that you are able to. So even though we generally do it both together, we talk about tefillin, the set, each one is its own mitzvah of a tefillah. The Mishnah Brura says, shum ones, any factor beyond your control. Kagon, for example, sheyesh lo makai, he has a wound, barosho on his head, or bizro'o, on his arm, is a roa, or shu tzarich letzait, or he needs to go out the derech onto the road. Ve'ein hashayara, and the caravan is not mamtenet, waiting alav for him. Ad sheyaniach shteihem, until he puts on both of them. Then meniach otoshiachol, put on the one that he is able to. Ve'hai minaihu adifa. Hi, this is whole phrase is Aramaic. Hi, which minaihu of them adifa better. Le'inyan hanacha, as far as putting it on goes. Yesh omrim, some say, the yoter tov, it is better, yoter more, right? Yoter tov, more good. Sheyaniach shel rosh, he should put on the shel rosh, the head tefillin. Levad, alone. The kedushato chamura, its holiness is literally severe, its holiness is greater. V'yesh omrim, and some say, sheyaniach, that he should put on hashel yad, the hand tefillin. Why? In order that he should not change the order that is in the Torah. B'meh davarim amurim, that's an abbreviation. Where does this apply? B'meh davarim amurim, k'sheyachol achar kach le'aniach b'derech hatfilah shniya, when he is able afterwards, achar kach, afterwards, to put on the second tefillah. But if afterwards you'll not be able to put on the second tefillah, yaniach hashel yad ve'ashel rosh kodem alichato mi beito. You should put on the hand tefillin and the head tefillin before he goes out from his home. To mishum ichur darko, because for delaying his way, lo itiru lo levatel mi mitzvat tefillin. It was not permitted to him to negate the mitzvah of tefillin. In other words, the only way I'm going to be able to leave town is if I don't put on tefillin today. Well, then you don't leave town today. You go tomorrow rather. The only idea of, well, put on the one tefillin now is that at least I will put on the other tefillin. Let's say at lunchtime, at mincha, at whatever it is. But if it means I'm not going to put on, then you don't go on such a trip. Good. Second subsection. Second paragraph, if you only put on the head tefillin, al mitzvat tefillin levad. You will only say that one bracha of al mitzvat tefillin. The Ramah says, uledidan, Aramaic for us, according to our Ashkenazi custom, we have the custom of saying every day 2 brachot. Mevarech al shel rosh levad, shtei brachot. You will say the bracha on the head tefillin alone, you will say both brachot, le'aniach tefillin and al mitzvat tefillin. V'meniach shel yad levad, if you're only putting on the hand tefillin, mavarech le'aniach levad. You only say the blessing of le'aniach. So again, the Sephardi custom is that le'aniach tefillin covers both of them. However, if you're only putting on the head tefillin, you'll say al mitzvat tefillin. The Ashkenazi custom is the hand tefillin has only the bracha of le'aniach. Head tefillin really has 2 brachot, le'aniach and al mitzvat. Usually with le'aniach we cover both, and then al mitzvat we say is the second bracha on the head tefillin. If you're only putting on the head tefillin, you will say 2 brachot. The Mishnah Brura says, Uledidan denohagin, according to us that we have the custom, as we've said above. Mavarech laniach, you say the blessing of laniach. Ayin Pri Megadim, take a look in the Pri Megadim, great rabbi of the 1800s. Shevi od poskim desfirlu da'af al shel yad levad nami mavarech shtei brachot. There are poskim, halachic authorities, who say that even sfira luhu, Aramaic for they hold, they believe, da'af, that even al shel yad bilvad, if you're only putting on the hand tefillin, nami also, another Aramaic word, mavarech, you see you'll learn a lot of Aramaic from Mishna Brura, because you're taking the terms from the Gemara. Mavarech shtei brachot, you'll put on 2 brachot. So, for halacha, they agreed, the later authorities agreed that you would only put on when you put on only the hand tefillin, you'll only say lehaniach. So, the Shulchan Aruch says you only say lehaniach. There are authorities who say you say both. The conclusion is you only say lehaniach. De belav hachi, without this. In other words, regardless, many of the early authorities, sfira lahu, believe, they hold, that afilu, even on both of them also, if you're putting on both tefillin and a mavarech elachad, you will only say the one bracha. If you put both tefillin on it without the bracha, the law is, the yavarech calls manchu alav, you should say the bracha whilst you have the tefillin on them. You forgot to do it at that time, so you'll do it a little bit later. Adayin hiktin birkat shel rosh letechila ve'achar kach shel yad. If you first put on the tefillin, if you first say the bracha of the shel rosh, and then you say the bracha of the shel yad, eino chozer u'mavarech. You're not going to go back and say a new bracha. Aval chadchila afilu iniach shel yad v'lo birich yavarech alav kodem anacha shel rosh. But still, you should say the bracha on the shel yad before the shel rosh. In other words, first I put on my shel yad and I forgot to say the bracha. Then I put on the shel rosh. So I should quickly remember, go back, say the bracha on the shel yad, and then say the bracha on the shel rosh. However, if I put on the shel rosh and say the brachot on that, or I put on both of them and I say the brachot on the shel rosh, I don't go back to say the brachot on the shel yad. That's the entirety of chapter 26. Let's get started on chapter 27. Where do you put them on and how do you put them on? Mishna Brura says, Makom anachatan shel yad bizra small. The place of putting them on the hand, is on the left arm. Babasar hatapuach, on the, literally, the flesh of the apple. What does that mean? On the bicep. Shebe'etzem, by the bone, shebein ha kubdo veit hashechi, between the elbow and the armpit. Mishna Brura continues, small, the left hand. Why is tefillin on the left hand? Midichtiv, the Torah says, speaking about tefillin, yadcha, your hand. Now, yadcha is normally spelled yad. Cha, yours, just that cha. The yadcha has got an extra hay, bahay, with the extra hay. Perish, yad kahay. It's like an abbreviation. It's not yadcha, your hand, it's yad ka, the weak hand. Kahay means weak. Dahainu, which is ha small, the left hand. Shehi tashev kahay, it's another word for weak. The hand which is weak. V'od darshu midiktiv. So that's how we know. Od darshu midiktiv ukshartam. Another way of understanding this, it says, and bind them. Uchtavtam, and write them. But write the tefillin and bind the tefillin. Now, ma ketiva biyamin. What hand do you write with? Your right hand. Shikan derech b'nei adam. That's what people do. Af keshira biyamin. So when it comes to tying, also you tie with the right hand. The kevan de keshira biyamin, and since you tie it with the right hand, mimela, automatically hanacha b'small, so you'll be putting it on the left hand. V'minichu biyamin, af b'diavad lo yatsa. And if you did put it on your right hand, even b'diavad, remember this word, even post facto, you have not fulfilled. Lo yatsa, you have not fulfilled your obligation. But basar hatapuach, so you've got to put it on the right hand. We'll be speaking about lefties in the next couple of days. On the flesh of the bicep, huwa makom anikra kiboret, balashon chazal, that's the place that our sages call kiboret, that's their word for bicep. Vohu le'ikuva, and that is le'ikuva, Aramaic word from the word to akav, to hold back, to restrain. This holds back. What does that mean? It means that this is an impediment to fulfilling the mitzvah. Again, if you don't put it on there, then you haven't fulfilled the mitzvah. So li'ikuva means it's not just recommended, it actually holds back the fulfilling of the mitzvah. It is an integral component. Kede yalfinan, Aramaic word yalaf means to learn. Yalfinan, we learn. Lezeh, be'gemara mikra. We learn this in the Gemara from verses. Okay, what's this? Kubdu, hanikrin, el bogen, that's the elbow. Just to illustrate what this means, there's a nice book called Pe'er Halacha, the beauty of the Halacha. It's a picture commentary on the Mishna Brura. We just got a copy in the shul, kindly donated by Rabbi Miller. So he shows you over here, when you're putting tefillin on your left hand, that's where it goes, on the egg of the bicep, right between the elbow and the armpit. And then you'll see it more going on over here. We'll go more into the details over the coming days.